A 60-acre fire less than a mile away from an animal shelter in Gainesville. Tonight we're looking back to Sunday when the community came together to keep 40 dogs and 18 cats safe.
I'm ready for hurricanes, but not fires. I didn't sign up for this. Just, our babies needed to be safe.
Later on, we'll tell you how one Facebook post brought more than 50 people to the North Central Florida Humane Society. That heartwarming story of a community that dropped everything to help tonight at 11. We'll be right back.
Well, coming up, certainly an unusual scenario for someone living in the Keystone Heights area. Next-door neighbor invited over hundreds of people to a sex party.
We'll show you what was going through that neighbor's mind when he found out when 5 Live returns.
Well, the Banjo Hall of Fame is getting a new member from our neck of the woods. Coming up on your Weekend Report, we sit down with the man who pioneered a whole new way to play the instrument. Like what you hear? Stay with us for more.
Your local station.
This morning, millions woke up to news of a dramatic military operation in South America. Forces with the United States took Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from a military base in the middle of the night and brought him to New York, in one of America's most assertive foreign policy actions in decades. Coming up, we'll have more about Trump's decision, how he plans to utilize Venezuelan oil reserves, and why the reaction to the operation is split. But for now, let's take a look at the top story in North Central Florida.
This is Weekend Report on WCJB TV 20, your local station.
Hello and welcome to your Weekend Report. I'm Ryan Hayes. Frigid temps are being felt all across North Central Florida as officials warn about the potential for burst pipes, frostbite, and stress pet safety as we all look to bear these bitter temps. And that's why we start tonight with meteorologist Cindy O'Quinn. Cindy, just how cold will it get tonight?
Well, we're looking at another repeat from what we saw Saturday night as near record lows. In fact, we are already at the record low current temperature for tonight. Now, our new record low for this morning was 20 degrees. We had that record-breaking cold again and wind chills in the morning that will be between 15 and 20 degrees. So it's going to be a cold one. Freeze warning is continuing across the entire area. We're expecting to be below freezing until at least 9, almost 10 o'clock in the morning. Our dew points are low, so it's very dry out there, but we will not see temperatures drop until this low. Instead, we're in the mid-20s to upper 20s right now. High Springs is at 27, Micanopy 27. Gilchrist County, we're looking at Bell at 26 degrees and Trenton at 25 and Cross City at 23 degrees. Now your forecast as you're getting ready to head off to school for your kids in the morning, dress them warmly. We're looking at a temperature of 21 degrees with those wind chills at 15 to 20 at 7 a.m. Coming home from school, though, a little bit better, Ryan.
Well, around 2:45 this morning, bundles upon bundles of railroad ties caught fire right in the heart of Denellen. Those ties were coated in creosote, a carcinogenic material which can be very dangerous if inhaled. Marion County commissioners and officials from rail company CSX say these ties belong to Texas-based company Trackline Rail. The fire prompted Denellen's mayor to officially declare a state of emergency in the city this afternoon. That means emergency management leaders will do whatever it takes to keep residents safe in the wake of this morning's massive fire. TV 20's Ana Alvarez spoke with an environmental activist who shared their concerns.
While Marion County Fire Rescue says this fire is contained, they are still working to determine how it began in the first place as environmental groups toy with the environmental impacts.
So it's very concerning that these fires are here.
Denellen Fire received an initial 911 call overnight regarding a dumpster fire. However, when they arrived, Marion County Fire Rescue determined railroad ties near East McKinney and North William Street had caught fire. With strong winds, the fire quickly spread down the railway, prompting a response from several agencies. Early this afternoon, officials shared the fire was contained while they worked to put out any hotspots. When asked about the potential health concerns, officials shared these railroad ties are coated with a highly carcinogenic chemical called creosote. They say they're most concerned for residents living in the Blue Cove area.
We're concerned for the people that live in Blue Cove. At this point in time, we're worried about those that have other underlying medical issues, so we're asking them to shelter in place at this time.
An environmental activist says some in Dunellen have been fighting to remove these railroad ties for months and believes this fire is another reason to have them removed permanently.
It's a dire concern, whether the ties are burned or not. They're covered with the creosote, which is a carcinogen, and then the ground that they're sitting on. If it rains, it leaks all into the well water supply and so forth. And so it's just, it's a hazard either way that you look at it.
Residents told TV20 they will raise these concerns at a town meeting Monday night. In Dunellen, I'm Ana Alvarez, TV20 News.
They have gotten the letters, and they've also gotten them via email. This is a total disregard for following county ordinances. And I want you to go after them with everything.
And I want you to run them out on a rail.
Yes.
Message received.
Yes.
That was Marion County Commissioner Kathy Bryant at a meeting in November. She was sharing her frustrations with Trackline LLC, who commissioners say were ignoring their request to move those ties out of the county. On November 4th, they agreed to file an injunction against the company. They were looking to set up a railroad tie grinding facility outside of Dunellen. Those were the ties that caught fire early this morning. TV20 has reached out to officials with Trackline LLC. We have not yet heard back. And Dunellen's Mayor Walter Green declared a state of emergency today and thanked the firefighters who responded this morning, saying they bravely stepped up to protect our beloved Dunellen. He's inviting Dunellen residents to a city council workshop meeting happening tomorrow at 5. Until then, city leaders are asking everyone to stay away from those railroad ties. Now, that fire in Dunellen was just one of 31 that we've been tracking in our area. Several more wildfires have been reported since last night, in addition to that railroad blaze. 2 new fires, 2 and 3 acres wide, were reported in Alachua this morning, and 2 small fires in Levy County were reported as well, but are both now contained. Also, a 15-acre fire in Columbia County is now 100% contained. Taking a look at our biggest wildfire of the weekend now, crews have been battling a more than 300-acre fire in Interlochen since yesterday afternoon. According to the latest update from the Florida Forest Service, that fire is still burning strong at 318 acres now. TV20's Laura Iglesias met with officials who gave us an inside look at how firefighters are attacking those flames.
We're scared and nervous. It's getting close, and we're just trying to stay warm right now. Last thing we want is a fire.
A 300-acre brush fire near Interlaken caused evacuations from Munich, Madrid, and Brussels Avenue. Around 20 homes were evacuated, causing confusion to nearby residents.
Well, my wife came out, and she put a pretty good fear in us because she likes to overreact. So she was telling us how bad it was, and I didn't really think it was that bad at first until we seen it personally ourselves, and it's out of control right now.
Evacuation orders have since been lifted. The official investigation for what caused this fire is still ongoing. An official with the Florida Forest Service says dry weather conditions contributed to the fire's spread.
The weather conditions that we're having right now are very conducive to wildfire risk. And so what I mean by that is we are still in a drought situation here throughout most of the state of Florida, but definitely here in north central Florida.
Dr. Ludi Bond tells TV20 they've been working on suppressing many fires across north central Florida. FFS recommends the community to maintain caution by using resources that allow you to be in the know. We will have all the sites listed on WCJB.com. Reporting from Interlaken, Laura Iglesias, TV20 News.
Now, that may have been the largest fire in north central Florida overnight, but firefighters also worked through the night containing a 25-acre fire in Orange Springs. That's down from 31 acres last night and now 90% contained. Residents there say the fire started near the Marion County Fire Station. And city leaders across north central Florida are asking residents to conserve energy tomorrow morning.
That's why we're asking for your help conserving energy during peak hours. Tonight from 7 to 10 p.m. and tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 a.m.
Officials in Newberry, Ocala, and Williston posted on Facebook today, urging residents to conserve energy from 6 to 9 a.m. tomorrow. They say last night some generators failed across the state as Floridians turned up the heat. They're asking people to set thermostats a bit lower to conserve hot water and to delay using big appliances so Florida's power grid doesn't go out. And city commissioners in Archer will review an audit that identified dozens of issues, plus a community input session to go over rezoning in Alachua County schools will take place on Wednesday. TV20's David Snyder tells us which stories to look out for in the week ahead.
Here's some of the stories we plan to follow for you this week. The long-awaited review of the Archer City audit by city commissioners is Monday evening. An auditing firm identified more than 30 issues, including records and employee timekeeping. The first of several community input sessions to go over plans for rezoning Alachua County schools takes place at Hawthorne Middle High School on Wednesday. Also, Columbia County Commissioners on Thursday will talk about the possible dissolution of the town of Fort White and what that might mean for the county. The Fort White Town Council meets February 17th. Also on Thursday is the annual Taste of the Nature Coast fundraiser to benefit the Tri-County Community Resource Center. Chefs from 13 restaurants will be showing off their skills. Stay up to date on these stories and much more throughout the week here on TV20, our news app, and WCJB.com. In the studio, David Snyder, TV20 News.
Florida's Attorney General was in North Central Florida today. We'll tell you why the murder case he came to discuss got nationwide attention.
And days before SNAP benefits are halted, food shelters in North Central Florida are preparing for a greater demand. We'll tell you when food stamps could stop coming in for families.
We're previewing a town hall featuring the mayor of Gainesville and the man who controls the city's utility. We'll tell you why the two will debate who's better at running GRU.
And we're also tracking historic Hurricane Melissa as it passes over Jamaica. We'll show you how the strongest storm in the Western Hemisphere since the 1980s is impacting that island. And those stories and more. 5 Live starts now.
This is 5 Live on WCJB TV 20, your local station.
A man who killed a 6-year-old boy and was convicted in connection to charges of assaulting the child's family is headed back to Kentucky after being arrested in Marion County.
Law enforcement officials here say they're relieved he's no longer walking free, and they're calling out Kentucky officials for ever letting him out in the first place. And TV20's Misty Webb joins us live at the Marion County Sheriff's Office this evening. And Misty, what was the message from state and local leaders today?
State leaders held a news conference here at the Marion County Sheriff's Office earlier today, saying Ronald Exantis shouldn't have been released in the first place. Exantis was sentenced to 20 years in Kentucky after stabbing 6-year-old Logan Tipton and the boy's family members. Exantis was found not guilty by reason of insanity in Logan's death, but convicted on assault charges. He served less than half his sentence before being released on parole. Deputies say he moved to Marion Oaks without registering as a convicted felon, living just blocks away from 2 schools. Officials say he's now being sent back to Kentucky. Marion County Sheriff Billy Wood says he's been in touch with the Tipton family, who were emotional but relieved to know Exantis is off the streets again.
There's no excuse for stabbing a 6-year-old child repeatedly and ending his life. So I'm glad we were able to get this guy off the streets. We'll continue to be out there watching and ready to fight back against anybody that wants to hurt our great Floridians.
Logan's mother released a statement thanking Florida officials, saying the state has shown more care and concern for her family than Kentucky. She added that nobody from Kentucky has contacted her, and she's hopeful Exantis will stay behind bars for the rest of his sentence, but she's not counting on it. Officials say they're disappointed in the Kentucky laws that allowed Exantis to walk free after just 7 years. They also say they will do everything they can to make sure he never calls this state home again. Reporting live in Ocala, Misty Webb, TV 20 News.
We're hearing new reaction this afternoon after an Ocala teenager was hit by a car and killed on her way to the bus stop yesterday morning. Police officers say Shannon Rushing was headed to Forest High School when she was struck by a driver on Northwest Old Blitchton Road. TV 20 spoke with the school's principal, Dr. Dion Gary, who says Shannon's loss was felt throughout the entire Forest High community. Some teachers asked to leave early yesterday.
We had a couple of teachers that taught her in class. They just could not make it yesterday, couldn't teach. They had to go home.
Gary and his staff brought grief counselors to the school yesterday for teachers and students.
FHP troopers are also investigating a crash that killed a 72-year-old man who was hit and killed by a train last night. FHP officials say the man from Ocala was driving on State Road 326 when his car got stuck on the tracks. This happened around 7:30 last night.
Building costs are going up in Alachua County. Following a consultant's recommendation, county commissioners today approved a plan to raise permitting fees by 25% across the board. Growth management officials say their work performing inspections and issuing permits for new construction is self-funded, and they have been falling behind in recent years. And fees were raised 8% in 2023, but hadn't been raised before that since 2010.
Let's take a break in the news, take a look for the weather, and certainly everyone's minds at this hour on Hurricane Melissa.
Although it's been bland here, there's a lot of activity down there in Jamaica, Bradley.
Yeah, certainly a life-altering hurricane down there in Jamaica. But for us here locally, safe to say that we have seen prettier weather days, no doubt about that. It was a very gloomy Tuesday across north central Florida. I wasn't, too confident that the sun was going to come out this afternoon, and sure enough, it did not. And as a result, temperatures have been limited to the 60s. Northeasterly winds coming in at around 3 to 6 miles per hour. You can see all those clouds blanketing the northern part of the state. Definitely more sunshine as you get off to the south. Our next frontal boundary taking shape off to our north and west. That's going to get here tomorrow evening and set the stage for some pretty chilly weather as we round out the week. We're going to take a look at the numbers in the main weathercast. Current temperatures upper 50s for places like Lake City, lower 60s as you get over towards Live Oak, and Brantford at 64, at 63 in Fort White, 63 in Lake Butler, 65 in Hampton, Stark 64, same for Lottie. It's 66 in Gainesville, Micanopy 67 degrees, High Springs 65, 66 in Melrose, Hawthorne coming in at 67, 68 in Ocala, McIntosh 65 degrees, Denellen near 70. Now for the day tomorrow, we're going to start out on the cooler side, most of us low to mid 50s, and eventually we'll get back to a mostly sunny and partly cloudy sky into our Wednesday afternoon. Nice looking day, mild temperatures but comfortable, low to mid 70s. Few showers possible as we head into tomorrow evening as that front makes its way through. I would not plan on a whole lot of rainfall. And then behind that front, big time changes for the end of the week just in time for Halloween and the start of November. We'll talk more about that. Plus, I'll give you the latest information regarding Hurricane Melissa down in the Caribbean coming up.
Thank you, Bradley. And let's take a live look now in Jamaica as this historic, now Cat 4 hurricane passes over the island. This is a look at Kingston, and that's the capital there of Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa made landfall, as Bradley mentioned, about 4 hours ago, and it isn't expected to leave until later tonight. It should hit Cuba around 2 o'clock in the morning. Melissa is the strongest hurricane in the Western Hemisphere since 1985. We'll continue our coverage from Jamaica throughout our newscasts.
Elsewhere, food banks and pantry workers tell TV20 that they're already struggling after federal program cuts this year, but now they're bracing for more hungry people as the food aid programs are being cut.
November 1st is when SNAP, also known as food stamps, will be coming to a halt, and food banks and charities are getting ready for the rush. TV20's Alyssa Perry is live at the Bread of the Mighty Food Bank, where they are preparing for the rush. And Alyssa, what are the efforts to stop the halt?
Yeah, as of today, 25 states are suing the Trump administration, saying that reducing the food stamps money will hurt millions of struggling people.
There's over 45,000 SNAP recipients in the 4-county service area that we serve. And so many of them are really looking, down the barrel of a tough time in the next 3 or 4 days.
On Saturday, about 42 million people who receive food assistance could see their benefits go away because of the ongoing federal shutdown, say many food banks. About 1 in 8 Americans currently need SNAP, receiving an average of $187 each month for food, and losing that means many will turn to food pantries for help.
We're built to respond to something like this, but I don't think we were prepared for something as the scale of what's happening right now is widespread. And so, we are taking the model we've always had, which is, getting food out to the community as quickly, as safely as possible. But we're really having to sort of look inward and start to try and formulate a new plan of attack for something that we weren't expecting.
Staff and volunteers are hopeful that those who can donate will step up, especially as the holiday season is coming. I mean, as you guys can see behind me, there is a ton of bread. I mean, look at this. But my real question is, what will happen, say, if they do end up going out? How will they get more bread and more food to people? Reporting live in Gainesville, Alyssa Perry, TV 20 News.
Next on 5 Live, Gainesville's mayor is debating the CEO of GRU over who should run the utility.
We'll tell you the history between the city and Governor DeSantis' authority board when 5 Live returns.
So in that past poll question, we did ask, do you support the bill to keep convicts behind bars for sentencing? So let's see those live results right now. So as far as yes, we have 83% that say yes, no is 7%, and unsure is 8%. So that is our previous poll question. So coming up in our next poll question, again, this will be active throughout the weekend. We'll give results on Monday for this poll here. But we asked, do you support eliminating property taxes for homeowners in Florida? So our options, we have cut all property taxes, reduce property taxes, keep property taxes, and then undecided. So this was published about an hour ago. Let's see those live results right now. So 39% say cut all. Reduce is 37%, actually 40% there, 37. 12 is to keep, and then undecided is 9%. So you can vote on this on our website, WCJB.com, throughout the weekend. We'll give those results on Monday. And so let's talk more about this property tax thing. So state lawmakers are moving forward with all 8 proposed constitutional amendments aimed at overhauling property taxes. A House committee voted to advance the proposals, which range from adding additional homestead exemptions to eliminating homestead property taxes altogether. The proposals need to pass 2 more committees and a full House and Senate vote. A slew of measures were proposed with the goal of getting at least one change to property taxes on the ballot next year. From there, voters could approve one, none, or all of the proposals which make it through.
It gives stability, and that's something that we don't have right now. One of the things that we had going back and speaking with businesses, we saw a 10% raise every single year.
Critics of the push to overhaul property taxes say the measures would gut local governments and leave them with budgetary issues.
These tax cuts on ad valorem property taxes haven't been vetted enough, haven't been fully thought through, and so we had to be no votes today.
Governor Ron DeSantis is championing the push to change property taxes in Florida, but he has been in a bitter fight with the legislature over how to change it. DeSantis said lawmakers weren't being serious after proposing those 8 measures. He says he wants even a harsher property tax cuts.
They put out a bunch of proposals. They're all milquetoast. There's not one proposal that people would get excited about. Not one. So they're total half measures, which is not what people are asking for.
Despite the governor's request, all 8 proposals are moving forward. If passed, the proposals would need to be approved by a 60% vote during next year's elections. Well, TV 20 is breaking down how the most extreme of those proposals would affect cities in north central Florida. So in Gainesville, that would mean a $12.7 million hit. That's compared to the general fund of about $155 million. Gainesville gets about 8% of its general fund from homestead taxes. Ocala would lose around $9.3 million. That's compared to a general fund budget of around $172 million. They'd lose out on about 5% of their budget. And then over in Lake City, they'd lose about $586,000. That's compared to a nearly $29 million general fund budget. That's around 2%. So all 8 proposals would ban local leaders from cutting police or sheriff's budgets.
Those Gator fans got their wish today. The University of Florida is parting ways with head football coach Billy Napier.
Coming up, we're bringing Gator insiders into the TV20 studio to break down what led to Napier getting the boot and what's next for the Gators. Your TV20 Weekend Report starts now.
This is Weekend Report on WCJB TV 20, your local station.
Good afternoon and welcome to your Weekend Report. I'm Ryan Hayes. Florida football coach Billy Napier has been fired. Well, it's been a busy day for Gator sports world. Even a win against Mississippi State couldn't save the head coach. Fans rallied for his firing as far back as last year, and recent losses against Miami, LSU, and USF ended up being the last straw for Napier. TV 20's Olivia Eisenhower joins us live in studio with some Gators insiders to break it all down for us.
Yeah, I'm Olivia Eisenhower, Steve Russell, Graham Hall, Zach Albuberti. We're all around the situation that is occurring, but Graham, I first want to start with you. Props, you have been feet on the ground outside of the facility since probably before the sun came up. Can you kind of briefly tell me the process and what you saw and that kind of thing?
Well, this wasn't a surprise. I think that a lot of people, based on the results of the start of the season, understood that this was coming, and it came out earlier in the week that potentially a firing could happen regardless of the result on Saturday, and it ended up coming to fruition. So when you hear about that and realize it's not business as usual, especially going into a bye week, it makes the most sense for an interim, and that ultimately is what came to fruition. So had to make sure that we were out there, and it ended up happening.
And then can you confirm for me what times those meetings are reported that you saw occur?
Well, they typically do meet at the facility Sunday afternoon. That went on at 1 o'clock, and then word came out to the team. It was unexpected that they had to be there back at 2 o'clock, and players started showing up. And before they actually had the meeting, or most everyone was there, news came out that Napier was going to be fired, and then he left the facility around 2:30.
And then taking some look at some stats in Napier's time as head coach of the Gators in his fourth season, 22-23 since being hired in November 2021, 12-16 in the SEC. Looking back for all of you, what sticks out to you most during his tenure?
BTV 20, your local station.
The National Hurricane Center has just declared Debbie a Category 1 hurricane. We'll now turn to meteorologist Bradley Benoit. And Bradley, what's the latest in this brand new development?
Yeah, Clint, not really a big surprise. We were expecting this, Debbie, to intensify, and it now is a Category 1 hurricane. So let's take a look at it. And it continues to intensify, gets a little bit better organized. Of course, it's taking advantage of the very warm Gulf of Mexico waters, temperatures, upper 80s to right around 90 degrees. A lot of deep convection near the center of circulation and on the eastern side of the storm. Meanwhile, western side, a lot of dry air trying to filter in. So that's why a lot of this convection is going to remain near the center and then points to the east. And by the way, north central Florida will remain on the eastern side of this storm through the entirety of the event. So here's the latest advisory. Winds 75 miles per hour. It is indeed a Category 1 hurricane. Landfall still expected tomorrow morning. We'll say anywhere between about 6 and 9 o'clock in the morning. Track shifted a little bit further to the west. Hurricane Center has it coming onshore, Taylor County. Remember, I've kind of been on the thinking of really the Taylor-Dixie County line, so I really wouldn't be surprised if it was on the eastern side of this track. But regardless, all of north central Florida remains on the eastern side. Tropical rain bands continue across a good part of the peninsula of Florida. That includes us here in north central Florida. Here's the eye sitting offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. Intense rain bands making their way into Cedar Key, places like Horseshoe Beach. As you get into Dixie County, that's where we're seeing the worst of the weather. And again, that's going to continue overnight tonight. Tropical storm warnings remain in effect for most of us. Hurricane warnings for portions of our counties. We'll detail that more in the main weathercast. But again, some impacts you can expect. The worst of the weather moving in later on tonight through tomorrow morning. Coastal impacts, 4 to 10 foot storm surge, hurricane force gusts definitely likely along our coastal counties. Tropical storm winds, sustained and gusts for inland north central Florida. Isolated tornadoes and local flooding has my attention and is my main concern. We're going to talk some of those estimates, and I'll have a full look and breakdown of Hurricane Debbie coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Bradley. Conditions in Levy County are getting worse as Hurricane Debbie nears landfall. County officials say if you decided to stay in coastal areas, you should take shelter immediately. TV 20's Alyssa Perry is live again. Alyssa, what do Levy County residents need to know right now?
Levy County issued a mandatory evacuation. Officials are now saying that this is a Category 1 hurricane. Despite the evacuation order, many residents have not evacuated. We were in Cedar Key earlier tonight where some people were actually in the water. The Director of Emergency Operations, John McDonald, said Levy County has sent out multiple messages warning residents to leave the area and find a safe place.
For those that didn't evacuate, and we pushed several messages out, we did a mandatory evacuation, and for those that didn't evacuate, we just sent out a message a few hours ago or whatever, and just, tell them run from the surge, hide from the wind, so get up to higher elevations to get away from the surge. Listen to your local officials out there.
McDonald also said if the wind reach a sustained 40-mile-per-hour wind, they will not guarantee emergency response. McDonald said Cedar Key is turning off their water around midnight. Now, we will be live with McDonald later tonight on the newscast, and he will talk about what people will do to be prepared for this hurricane. Back to you, Clint.
Thank you, Alyssa. Here's a look at what Cedar Key looked like earlier in the day. You can see people driving around making last-minute preparations before the storm. You can see that howling wind. It's a lot harder to drive now than it was then, so if you don't need to be on the roads, please don't head out. If you take any footage of the storm or damage, we want to see what conditions look like near you. You can submit them through the TV20 website by clicking the Submit Photos and Videos button. You can also send them over email, Facebook, or on the TV20 News and Weather app. It's already getting dangerous to head out on the roads, but if you absolutely need to, some shelters will be open in north central Florida. Alachua County residents can head to one of 3 shelters: general population and pet-friendly shelters at the MLK Center, and one is at the Easton Newberry Sports Complex. There's a special needs shelter at the Alachua County Senior Recreation Center, and you need to pre-register. In Columbia County, residents can head to one of 4 shelters. There's general population locations at the Winfield, Richardson, and Fort White community centers. Deep Creek Community Center also opened tonight. There is a special needs shelter at the West Side Elementary. In Dixie County, a shelter is open at the Dixie County High School. They're asking visitors to bring their own bedding and clothes. In Gilchrist County, you can go to Bell Middle and High School. That's a special needs shelter. In Levy County, there's a shelter at the Bronson Middle and High School, as well as Bronson Elementary School. In Sewanee County, there is a general population shelter at Branford Elementary and Sewanee Pineview Elementary. There's a special needs shelter at the Sewanee Springcrest Elementary. No other counties, to our knowledge, have opened shelters. For a full list of locations and addresses, please check our website, wcjb.com. Also, plenty of schools in north central Florida are closing down tomorrow because of Hurricane Debbie. Even though it's still summer for many students on campus, activities and prep for the school year was going on. Tomorrow, campuses in Alachua, Bradford, Columbia, Dixie, Gilchrist, Levy, Sewanee, and Union counties will shut down. Leaders in those school districts are still deciding whether or not to open on Tuesday. Students at Santa Fe College, the University of Florida, and Florida Gateway College are also off tomorrow. And the Columbia County Sheriff's Forum, moderated by TV20, is being canceled. It was originally set to be held tomorrow at FGC. Since the college is closing, the event is being canceled. There are currently no plans to reschedule this forum. Well, Bradley, we are nearing landfall on the west coast of Florida. What do we need to know right now?
We definitely have Hurricane Debbie. It's getting closer to landfall, but really it's not going to come until tomorrow morning across north central Florida. So the weather actually only going to be going downhill as the night wears on into tomorrow morning. We'll talk the local impacts, and I'll have my full weather forecast right after this.